This time on the Families Matter Most podcast.
The premise is that sometimes our kids need relationship, and I like to err towards that. If I'm going to err on one side, I want to err towards relationship, but sometimes it actually becomes a negative character flaw, and then we have to work on the character. They need responsibility.
Every time Jen Dean speaks, I can see hope, knowledge, expertise, wisdom, and love.
When Jen Dean speaks about parenting, we make sure that we are there to listen because we know we will get valuable advice.
Families Matter Most with Jen Dean.
She doesn't just give skills for us to be better parents, but she teaches us how to reach our children's hearts. And at the end of the day, that's what truly matters.
Does your child need more relationship or more responsibility? It's Jen, and on the podcast today, we're going to talk about negative attention-seeking behavior, where it comes from, and what we can do about it. Because our kids want your attention. They really do. They want your attention, and they will try and get it. Whining, begging, badgering, arguing, hitting their brother. They will do all the things. But really at the heart of it, what they want is you. They want your eyes. They want your words. They want your face. They want your undivided, focused attention. And often our kids will use negative attention-seeking behaviors to get it. So one rule is we have to notice that. We have to pay attention, notice what are the negative attention-seeking behaviors, and then just mentally decide they can't work. Every family that comes to me and says, Jen, my kids are whining all the time. I've done everything and I never give in. I'm always like, yeah, you do. I think you do give in. I think it works because kids don't do things that don't work. We do things for a reason and they serve us. So even though you don't mean for it to, you still probably, when your kid is whining, you're like, what? What do you want? Stop whining. Even turning to them and saying, stop whining is giving them your eyes, your face, your unfocused attention, which really is what our kids are wanting a lot of the time. So you have to decide. First, notice it. Secondly, decide it's not going to work. If your kids are whining and they're old enough safely, you can do this. I advise just turning around and walking out of the room. You can offer a redo. You can say, I'm sorry, I don't understand. And then just move on with your life. Don't stop and give it a bunch of attention. If you can ignore it completely, do like a teaching moment where you can say, I can't understand whining. I don't know what you're saying. And then just move away with your life. You could, if you wanted to, offer a redo, say, I don't understand that. Use your words and try again. You could do that and then give your child an opportunity to think about what they're going to say. You could give them the words. You could say, I don't understand that. Why don't you say, may I have a snack, please? Right? These are all options that you can use. Decide what's going to work for you. But the goal is that the negative attention-seeking behavior can't work. Now, secondly, ask yourself, what do you want them to do? And then practice that. You can practice that in the redos, like I've mentioned, or you can have practice times throughout the day, throughout the week, on the weekend maybe, where let's say every day at 4:00 after school, we're going to practice asking for a snack using good words. We're going to practice sharing our toy with our sister and taking turns. We're going to practice brushing our teeth without an issue. What is something that's causing a lot of issues in your life right now? It's very annoying. A negative attention-seeking behavior is often annoying. What is something like that in your life? Can you practice it? And maybe every day doesn't work for you. You can practice it on the weekend. You can say every Saturday, we're going to practice some things. We're going to practice sitting at the table. We're going to practice not stomping when we don't get what we want. Whatever it is, when there's a negative attention-seeking behavior, ask yourself, what is the positive? What do I want them to do instead? And then teach our kids this. Teach your kids the positive. Teach them what you want them to do. In our part of the world, we don't really spend a lot of time practicing. We spend a whole lot of time telling our kids, don't, quit it, stop it, no. But we don't spend a lot of time teaching our kids, yes, this is what I want you to do. in this situation. These are the positive attention-seeking behaviors I want you to do. When you want to hug, when you want to cuddle, I don't want you to throw yourself on the floor and have a tantrum. I don't want you to cry and be dramatic and say, I hate myself and I'm stupid and I never get it right. What I want you to do is say, I feel sad. Can I have a hug? Or, can I have a cuddle? Like, ask yourself, what do you want them to do? And then practice those things. That's like a missed training skill that we don't do in North America. And yet it is so effective. So put it in your calendar, make it a part of your life, your daily schedule, if you can, weekly schedule even, that we're going to practice some of these annoying behaviors. That works really well for negative attention-seeking behaviors. So this is about relationship, right? Are your kids desperate to connect? Are they doing anything to try and get your eyes, to get your unfocused, undivided attention? What can you do to offer them that ahead of time? If you notice that, let's say every night at supper time, every day at 5:15, 5:30, your kids are angry, they're having meltdowns, they're doing some of these negative attention-seeking behaviors. If you see a pattern, then I want you to get ahead of that. If you notice that every day while you're trying to make supper, kids are not at their best, no, we have lots of the negative behaviors, then I want you to get in front of that. And let's say 15 minutes before you need to make supper, I want you to set aside 5 or 10 minutes, sit on the floor with your kids, sit on the couch with them, sit at the table, and just look into their eyes, talk to them. Remember, they want your unfocused, undivided attention. They want your eyes. So you're not on your phone, you're not on your computer, right? You're going to look right into their eyes. You're just going to ask them a question or tell them that you think they're awesome because they are. You love them so much. Maybe you read a book or play a game. Maybe you could do a craft for 5-10 minutes. You could color, you could build Lego, you could wrestle on the floor, anything that you could do just to connect with them. You will find the negative behaviors decrease. I promise you. I promise you. If there's a pattern and you notice this is happening, then getting in front of it will make the biggest difference. Now, I know what you're going to say. You're going to say, Jen, that is my busiest time of day. I know. Sorry. I know. We got to find the time, 5-10 minutes. It will save you. You will be so thankful because it's going to elevate dinner time for you. You're not going to have to deal with so much negativity. You won't have as much drama or anger. It will absolutely reduce the amount of conflict and issues you have while you're trying to make supper, while you're trying to eat supper, while you're trying to clean up from supper. So it's worth it. So I'm challenging you, even though I know it's likely your busiest time of day. What can you do? What can you do ahead of time? Crock pots, slow cookers, frozen casseroles, if you have to, paper plates, if that's what's going to give you the extra time. Do what you have to do to try and give yourself that 5, 10, 15 minutes if you can. If you can have, 5 minutes with each kid, that would be great. Just to be able to stop and look in their eyes, tell them something awesome, connect with them. It will make a huge difference. A lot of the behaviors we see in our kids is because of relationship. That's what they're wanting. So this will help to reduce conflict, I promise you. Maybe your kids are angry. Maybe you do have to step in. Now, there is a way to do it that preserves relationship. You could say something like, I can see that you're upset and I really want to help you, but not until you're calm. Let's take some deep breaths and then we can solve our problem, right? That sounds firm. It sounds calm. It is still intervening. You're dealing with something, but it doesn't feel harsh at all. How about, it looks like you're having a hard time sharing this toy with your sibling. I'm going to put it up here and you guys need to talk and come up with a plan to be able to play with it together. Yeah. I'm going to take this toy for a few minutes. We're going to put it up here. Maybe the toy's going to go in timeout for a little while until we can figure this out. That feels very calm. You're not ignoring it. You're still dealing with the situation, but not at the expense of relationship. Do they need you to speak into their life? What do they need to hear from you, right? And then let's find a way to make that happen. I've even said things to kids like, it looks like you're having a hard time with self-control. We're working on it. Don't worry. We're going to get there. I'm going to help you to grow in self-control. And it's going to be great. You're going to be able to stay calm. We're going to work on anger. It's going to be so good. We got this. To be able to be that confidence for your child is a big deal. And then the other thing I wanted to say about relationship is it's never going to be perfect. It really isn't. There's always going to be something to work on. But this is true. What you compliment will grow. So I say, praise every little thing. Praise all the good. If your child usually has a tantrum at supper and one night she doesn't, then praise that. Wow, you had self-control. I could tell that you were feeling frustrated, but you stayed calm. High five, that's awesome. If your teenager usually stomps away and says something sarcastic, but they're calm, they're regulated, they're in control, you can comment on that. Say, hey, I noticed that even though you were frustrated, you were super calm and you were still kind to me. Thank you. Whatever you compliment will grow. And I always have parents saying, you shouldn't have to compliment basic kindness. That may be true. That maybe we shouldn't have to, but we're humans and we all work that way. If you are married, wouldn't you appreciate it if your partner said, hey, I noticed you cleaned the fridge. I noticed you organized whatever. I noticed you washed the walls. I noticed you fixed the such and such. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it. Yeah, okay, maybe we shouldn't have to, but yet it feels good. Of course it feels good. The rule is whatever you compliment will grow. Whatever you want to see more of, notice it. Even if it's the tiniest little bit, compliment that, praise that, and it will grow. Now, what about responsibility, Jen? When do we teach that? Here's the thing. I think relationship is more important, but character is really important too. Responsibility is really important too. Here's an example of how we have to decipher when to lean towards relationship and when to lean towards responsibility. Your child is in middle school and she forgets her lunch at home. What are we going to do? Are we going to say, oh, sorry, forget it. I guess you don't get a lunch. Too bad on you. Or are we going to say, you know what? This is what family does. We help each other. I'm going to bring you your lunch for you because I care about you. Is that what we're going to do? This is the dilemma. And here's my answer. It depends. It depends. Sometimes I am so grateful when I make a mistake and my family covers me. Oh, I can remember a time I was doing a speaking engagement. I was presenting on a topic and I get to the venue. Thankfully, it was in the same city I was in. And I forgot the worksheets. I forgot my notes. I left them at home and I called my husband. I didn't have enough time to go home and come back again. I called my husband and he could have berated me. He could have been sarcastic. He could have rolled his eyes. He could have been like, oh, can't believe you did that. He could have made any number of comments, but he didn't. He just said, I got you. I'm coming right now. And sure, it was inconvenient and he had to drive across town, but he did that. He did that for me and he did it with a happy heart. He didn't have to make a comment. He brought me the worksheets. He said, here you go, babe. I love you. Good luck. It's going to be great. And I was so thankful. That meant so much to me because I knew what it cost him. It was inconvenient. I knew that I had made a mistake. To me, that was grace. He had grace for me and I appreciated it. And that is what family can do. That's what friends can do. That's what we can do for the people we care about without needing to add a lecture to it. So perhaps your child in middle school forgets her lunch and she calls home and she says, Mom, I forgot my lunch. I'm so sorry. I can't believe I did that. You could say, you know what? I have some time. I can drop it off for you right now. I got you. That's what family does. You could do that. And that would be leaning towards relationship. Your child needs relationship. This is what families do. However, what if this happens a lot? What if it becomes kind of a pattern and you realize, okay, wait a minute, this isn't a once in a while forgetting like human nature, everybody does. This is now becoming a character flaw. This is now becoming a part of my child's character, that they are demonstrating a pattern of forgetfulness. This is now kind of an issue. Then you might have to lean towards responsibility. Actually, it's important that my child learns responsibility in this area. So when they call you and say, oh, I forgot my lunch again, you might have to say, you know what, dear, I love you. I can't help you. I can't help you this time. You know what, I have to go to work, or I'm busy, or I'm so sorry. You're going to have to wait until after school. You might have to do that. You might have to. Or if your child calls, and this is a bit of a pattern maybe, or they call and they are not kind about it. What if they call and they're like, Mom, I forgot my lunch. You got to bring me a lunch, right? What if they don't recognize that it's grace? What if there's an expectation? Hey, bring me a lunch. What if, right? I forgot it. You got to save me. You got to bring it. There's no gratefulness. There's no understanding that, wait a minute, actually, this is my mistake. And I need to be grateful. I need to be thankful for a relationship. If it becomes not grace, if it becomes entitlement, that's when you might decide, okay, I need to lean towards responsibility. In this case, actually, I'm not going to save you. In this case, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry you don't have a lunch today. That's got to be hard. Well, I'll have a big snack for you after school. I love you. Bye. Yep. When possible. Now, of course, you've got to weigh it out and know what's safe for your child, you know, what the right idea is. You know your child's health. You know their concerns. You know what they're capable of. You need to weigh that out. If there's any reason that it's beyond their control, if there's a health issue that they can't go along without food, you know your own child. But the premise is that sometimes our kids need relationship, and I like to err towards that. If I'm going to err on one side, I want to err towards relationship, but sometimes it actually becomes a negative character flaw, and then we have to work on the character. They need responsibility. And this is just a good way to think about it. Negative consequences, they are a very effective way of teaching responsibility. And sometimes we get in the way of that because we want to cover our kids. We want to save them. We want to prevent them from the negative consequence. But if your child is like I learned through negative consequences. If you told me not to touch the stove, I would be, why? Why not? I want to know now. How close to the stove can I get? I learn through cause and effect. I learn really well through negative consequences. So the goal there is to just recognize that sometimes your kids need responsibility. Sometimes they need relationship. And when the answer is responsibility, don't feel bad about the consequence. You don't actually want to prevent that. You want to make it calm. You want to make it firm, not harsh, right? But you do actually want to walk out that negative consequence and let it be the teacher. You don't have to add in a huge lecture. You don't have to be sarcastic. You don't have to raise your voice or be angry. The consequence is the teacher. And then you move on. So hopefully this helps you. Hopefully this helps you as you're deciphering what's going on in your child's heart. Remember, negative attention seeking is often your child vying for your attention. They want your eyes, they want your face, they want your words. So the key here for you is to not let the negative attention seeking work and to teach them the positive of how to get that attention. Ask yourself, do they need relationship or do they need responsibility? And then just follow through and don't make it mean something. Don't take it personally. You know, the lesson can be the teacher. Yeah. And that's okay. You're not a bad mom for doing that, for following through. Just make sure that you're calm, you're in control, that you're firm, but you're not harsh. And it really will teach responsibility to your kids. So this is the way that you can teach responsibility and have relationship. Let me know how this goes.
Thanks for listening to the Families Matter Most podcast with Jen Dean. Book a free strategy call today and get the tools and tips you need to be a more calm and confident parent. For more podcasts, online courses, or just to get more information, visit familiesmattermost.com.